Yo guys, I'm Gerald. Welcome back to Car Chat, and I want to talk about why is our software actually not designed for our needs. And there are so many cases of this, okay? So when we are using a program, when we are using things, there are very few things we actually like to do on a computer. Like there is preset templates for every single thing. I think I mentioned this before. But there are some very obvious use cases that just simply don't pop up, that people just haven't put together, and I don't know why. For example, let's say you are writing a book, like I did when I wrote A Land Called Paradise, and you need to then sew all of your chapters into one thing. Why is there not a good word processor for that? There's Scrivener, but that costs money. A free option, a very simple free option. Text is text, man. Is really not that complicated, okay? We've had these programs for years upon years, and yet we apparently cannot make a text editor that takes multiple texts together and then sews them together. And that kind of baffles me, because this is a use case that people have a need for. Another thing that baffles me is, why is there not a text processing program that automatically formats everything into an Amazon KDP at this point? Just think about it. Why does it not automatically have the print sizes for Amazon KDP and automatically reformat the page count to make a perfect template passing setup? You can do it in Word, of course, and you can do it with all these weird templates, or you can use other software to try to format it, like Page Plus, or what was the Adobe one called? But still, once again, all the solutions to these problems cost money, and we live in a time where these programs are simple. These programs are very, very easy. What I mean to say is, I got caught up working on a project this week, and it was a very simple project. So I was making an HTML web browser which would sew various tabs. So essentially, if you open up Windows Notepad right now, go ahead, open up, check it out. If you're not at your PC, open it up when you go home, okay? You'll notice they now have tabs which store each individual document. But the problem is, they're storing individual documents separately. We need them to be stored together, or we need them to be all in one place. And Notepad is a very rudimentary program. So imagine a word processor that stores all your text, images, and basic formatting into these folders, and then at the end, depending on how you have the tabs arranged, it then will sew all of these together into a single document. That's it. That's simple. It's not a complicated idea. So this week I got caught up and I made a text browser that did exactly that. Then it occurred to me that so many of the websites, when you go to read light novels online or web novels online, and don't really have this type of formatting with the tabs, where it can automatically flicker through all the things. And, well, seeing how my editor already has it, why can we not just export a version of the editor in a read-only mode that contains your file already, and now you have the tabs that you've been using to write your book built in, and you can just simply have a all-in-one HTML that has your work on it. Essentially a website builder that is dedicated to the task of taking these novels and writing them. And then making these pre-formatted web novels where you only have to upload the HTML to somewhere, and bam, you have the book. I'm having trouble getting that feature to work right now. And I am tinkering on it to try to get it to function. But I really think there's something to this. I think there is something to this project, this work pad I've been making. Now, this is something you'll notice with me, and it's kind of a problem I have, is that I'll get so focused on a side project that I lose focus on everything else. I really just go at it whole ham, and for the last 4 days, this is all I've been doing in my free time. When I'm not spending time with my wife and playing with my kid, I've been tinkering on this quietly to get this to work. And I already managed to get it up to the point where it sews together the docx, it converts WebP to PNG, it has multiple image formats, it makes sure those image formats fit in there too. It retains the formatting, of which I need to fix one more thing in it where it doesn't retain the new lines, but that's not a hard thing to fix. And ultimately, it's a very intuitive tool. It's a very straightforward project. But I always have to ask myself, why do I get focused on that? Like, my real project's supposed to be this, the workshop. I'm doing these car chats. And judging by how the programming video is going, it's blown up, man. That video is my second most viewed video on the entire channel, which kind of surprises me, seeing how this is not exactly the most highest effort channel you've ever seen. But still, it's like, I don't know why once an idea takes possession, you get so obsessed, and then you have to focus and iterate and then continue making it. Even though this project probably will never get me anything of relevance. Once again, just like my novel, it's going to be another pointless project. So why do we do these things? Why? Why do we focus on projects that we don't see the end goal of? Why do I focus on projects that I don't see the end goal of? And I can't really say. And maybe it's just I like to have my mind busy, to devote my time. Sorry, I'm trying to hold back a sneeze. But still, there has to be something more to this. Like the single-minded devotion to making something. Like, I took something from nothing and I've already made a functional text editor that sews together each tab into a docx. And in a process I call crimping, because it's crimping them together like a clip. Like when you bend metal to attach. And I don't really understand why I made it. Like, do I have a use case for it? Absolutely. I can use it for my novels, and if I get this stupid web novel export reader thing to work, then I can just start uploading my novel in parts and pieces. And yet I can't grasp at the single fundamental philosophical reason of why am I doing it? Why am I being so persistent on something that may never grow? Why does a man plant a tree to know that he does not sit underneath the shade of? Is it for your children? But stuff like this is temporal. It'll be replaced in time. And I also have to ask this question. Why is the world not situated in our favor? Like, these things all have use cases. There is a very specific need for this. It should be an obvious need. It should have already existed. There's no reason it doesn't already exist. My God, why does this not exist as is? Like, okay, yes, it technically does exist. Technically. Locked behind a paywall and a software that it feels antique when you open it up. Does that make sense? Not to me. It doesn't really make any sense to me. And I don't understand why there are so many things that people need from their software that just simply don't function. For example, one thing we all really need? We need better AI voices for our books. Okay, and for a while there, somebody had it reasoned out. There was a Chinese application I downloaded off a GitHub page that would connect the Microsoft Neural Azure voices from the web browser for the read online function over into your ebook app, and then it would play it out, and it was amazing. You don't understand what these new AI voices are like. And then Microsoft found that loophole they exploited, patched it out, and now nobody has it. Here's a good question for you. Why does your phone keyboard right now use the phone mic to type? Why? We all have earpieces nowadays. It should prioritize the Bluetooth earpiece you have connected over the phone mic, because sometimes the phone mic messes up. It's not as close to your face. It's not as clear as it could be. But why does it only prioritize the phone mic and never this? Do you see an issue with that? That's design not being made for the user in mind. I've seen countless people post about that too. They're never going to fix it. And I don't really have a good solution because it's baked into Android. Like, here's another issue, okay? Android right now. When you get a app installed, why does it only install to the internal hard drive? I know a lot of Android phones don't have SD cards, but some do. I have a Galaxy right here which has a SD card. Why does it not install on there? Does it make sense to you? Why doesn't it install there? I mean, yeah, the app's going to run a little bit slower. Okay, sure. It's going to run a little bit slower because it's running off an SD card instead of the internal proprietary storage, but it breaks so much in the fact that it does not actually use that. It completely breaks a fundamental thing to the Android ecosystem. It used to. Let me say that. You used to be able to specify install to main or install to this SD card. And now apps have ballooned up to like 60, 70 gigabytes in size. So I slapped an SD card in here hoping I could install stuff into it, and it's largely useless. I can't install nothing on there. And that really aggravates me. And I don't know why they designed it that way. Why did they take away a feature for it? Like, okay, I know why. Because they're getting rid of SD cards and they want to control how much space you have and how much data they can collect from you, and prioritization. I'm sorry, this car chat is mostly me going through a laundry list of things I would love to see and don't see, but we have to really think about this sometimes. Why do we build things that we do not see the end case for? Well, I'm trying to build things that direct tools that I need right now for my use case. But even so, it's not there's no profit to it. There's no end goal in mind. And it's not going to help me in a terribly huge way, just in a small way. And perhaps it's those small ways that's the important part. It's those little small things that help us understand the world that we're facing. You see, we focus on the wrong things all the time. And then we build things and we do things, but sometimes we don't know those wrong things might be the right things. We don't know what we're actually trying to construct. Like, is the world made just to make money? Is that all there is to life? We have to have money, of course. When you think about money, money is what builds resources. Resources for your family, food, security. I'm a living testament to that. I basically crawled up from nothing. I crawled from the poorest you could be in American society up to being in the middle class. And that was me fighting, kicking, clawing, traveling overseas, going on these insane sojourns, these wild adventures to arrive at what other people started at. And sometimes I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's right. And even then, I feel like I keep getting kicked and penalized for it. But I don't want to get grim. So I want you guys to think about that this week. If there's a use case you can think of, if there is something you want but can't find it, make it. We live in an age where you don't even need to know that much programming, and you can get these things to start to function. And all it takes is cracking open a book. I've been reading a book on domain-specific languages. Let me see if I can pull it out. Let's see here. I've been reading a book on domain-specific languages because I've been interested in trying to reskin Python to make it actually interesting for me. You know, I already talked about that. And I don't mean for this channel to be a programming channel, okay? It's really not. It's more of a gaming, let's talk about life, philosophy type of channel. But my interests converge sometimes. My God, how many of these did my daughter open up? Okay. I let my daughter use my reader. So, you have to forgive me here. Okay, let me see here. It is Domain-Specific Languages by Martin. Come on, load up. I hate PDFs on the EPUB, on the I hate PDFs on this thing. I hate them with a passion because it loads so slow, but yet it's one of the best ways to read through a PDF. Okay, yes, so Domain-Specific Languages by Martin Fowler. I've been reading through this. It also says with Rebecca Parsons. This is like an academic level text on domain-specific languages because nobody writes about domain-specific languages. Domain-specific languages are kind of an unknown thing. This book came out in, oh my god, where can I find the year? Should have a copyright. Well, it just says copyright by Martin Fowler. That's not the most helpful thing in the world. Can I find anything else? No. Okay. Either way, yeah, I think it was made in the early 2000s. I highly recommend you look up that book for learning about domain-specific languages. It's a very good text on it. And it's mostly because I have a use case and I'm trying to find the tool to apply to it. And I suggest you guys do the same. I suggest you guys sit down and think about, hey, what would make my life better? Like if any of you figure out how to get the Google text typing to work with one of these earpieces instead of this, tell me. Tell me, do you know how much time that would save me? Because right now, what I'm doing, you ready for the insanity of like the workarounds you have to do? I will turn on a voice recorder app. I will go on my daily walk and I will talk into the voice recorder app. And then when I'm done, and I will turn it off. I will include all the necessary formatting commands as I dictate. But then I'll go home, turn it off the voice recording app, set it down, open up Google Docs, press start on that, and press play on the audio at the same time. The phone is recording the audio it's playing to itself. Why? Why is this the only workaround? That's it. That's the only workaround I could figure it out. To use this to record or text typing into the thing. And the reason that's important is because this can record a hell lot further away than my phone can. I can have my phone in my pocket, screen off, with the voice recorder on. I can't do the same with the text typing. And it's a very stupid design. Alright guys, thank you very much for joining me with Car Chat. Sorry this one got a little bit serious. But you know, sometimes you gotta voice these things. And I'm going to sign off here, okay? So this is Gerald Rogers signing off.